This conversation took place between my grandmother and my mother. Took place in the early 1970s. I know it before 1976. And the conversation was about personal responsibility. It got pretty heated. It was between my grandmother, who was born in 1919, and my mother, who was born in 1939. My mother was discussing how when the government released the pill, it gave women the opportunity and the power to control the reproductive process. You could take the pill, didn't have to worry about getting pregnant. My grandmother, being a black woman in her generation, born in 1919, she said women have always had the power of controlling the reproductive process. It's called keeping your legs closed. My mother said yes, but it takes two to make a baby. My grandmother, yes, it does take two to make a baby, but only one gets pregnant. Mother was saying how that's not fair. My grandmother's attitude is when it comes to sex and other decisions, life is never fair. It's a double standard. It's a double standard that's always existed. The problem with women today is they don't want to take personal responsibility. I'm not saying don't have sex. What I am saying is you being a woman, it's your responsibility to make sure that you don't get pregnant. Like I said, that conversation took place in the 70s. My grandmother would also talk about how the women's lib movement would destroy the family structure because women wanted to enter the workplace and didn't realize that they was taking jobs that were mainly for men. And because of the job loss, it prevented men from earning a certain wage where they could take care of the family, where the woman could be at home raising children. But that's what the 70s was all about. Women wanted to enter the workforce. Women wanted to be equal. Women wanted this. But it was never equal. You have female police officers. They don't have to do the same physical fitness tests as the men. Neither do firefighters. I was in the Navy for 11 years. Women didn't have to do the same physical fitness standards as the men. So it really never was about equality. It was about getting women into the workplace because they wanted more freedom, more independence. And they got it. Now today, women have more rights than ever before in American history. But what's happened to the family? More and more children are being born out of wedlock. Women are not happy. Men are more not happy. I'm not saying what is right or what is wrong. I'm just saying what has happened. I'll be 60 next year, so if you're in my generation, then maybe you have a better understanding of what I'm talking about. But things have not gotten better. My grandmother's generation, over 65% of black men and black women were married, and children were born into a home with two parents. Now over 70% of black children are born to single black women, and they're being raised in single households. So now the same men that are being produced are the same type of men that women are not attracted to. You have boys being brought up in a single parent home with a mother, and they get accustomed to seeing a woman do everything. So what do? They go out and get a woman that can do everything. And it's putting the woman in more of an alpha male role than in a female femininity type of role. I'm not saying what is right or wrong. I have my own personal opinion. I'm just saying what has happened in my lifetime. I've seen a lot of my friends' parents get divorced. My parents was divorced. Sometimes it was over infidelity. Most times it was over financial reasons. My grandmother would say, ain't no woman gonna never stop no man from being a man. My mother would say, that's because women in your generation didn't have the options that women today do. My grandmother would say, what has those options gotten us? My grandmother never really cared about the infidelity from her husband. Her main concern was, you keep your business out of my house, and you keep it away from me, and you don't embarrass me. You provide for me, you make sure I have a home, you make sure the utilities is paid, and you make sure I have the food in this refrigerator to cook you decent meals. But that was the mentality of my grandmother's generation. Now it's get out. You can draw your own conclusions. I'm not saying what is right or what's wrong. That's up to you. I'm just saying what is. Peace.